Humans have always used art as a means to express themselves, using beautiful smooth lines or recurring to bright and vivid colors, with artists using geometric shapes or painting the pleasures of lives, while others painted what they saw in their minds. Describing a painting will always be a difficult task, because we all have different perspectives when it comes to what we see or what we feel. Today, we will keep our analysis on one of Vincent van Gogh's paintings, Skull of a Skeleton with a Burning Cigarette. First, it is important to mention that we'll be conducting this analysis following Panofsky's iconographic analysis. This method was used by the German art historian Erwin Panofsky, basing himself on what he believed art should represent. The analysis is divided into pre-iconography, which covers what can be seen when looking at the painting, iconography, which analyzes the symbolism behind the piece and its possible meaning, and iconology, which, like the iconography, looks at the symbolism behind the artwork, while taking into consideration the instances and events going on when the painting was created. What we have here might look like nothing more than a skeleton, and in a way, it is indeed nothing more than a skeleton. But what makes this piece of art stand out is the story behind its creator and the creation of this piece of art. When we look at this painting, the first thing that we can see is that it differs quite a bit from what was common at the time, with the use of somber and gloomy colors. Mind you, this painting is part of the post-impressionist movement, an artistic movement that characterized itself by the use of vibrant and cheerful colors that expanded on the depiction of lifelike subjects as the previous impressionist movement has started. On the other hand, this painting uses dark colors such as black, grey and white, creating a greater contrast with the little touches of blue and yellow around the skeleton, and especially the orange on the tip of the cigarette that hangs on the skeleton's mouth.
Besides that, the subject heavily differentiates itself from what was common at the time, depicting a skeleton departing from the mentioned custom of painting lifelike scenes common to this period. The only thing that stays in line with what the so-called norm in the post-impressionist scene is the way the picture itself was created, with the use of broad and uneven strokes that to the untrained eye might look careless or even unbalanced, but help strengthen the mood the painting is going for. Moving to the iconography of the piece, the first thing that pops out is the subject matter of the artwork. As stated before, this picture depicts a skeleton, or rather what in the world of art is known as a memento mori, which refers to a depiction that reminds the viewer of death and its inevitability. This message is also reinforced with the dark colors of the background and the use of the little cigarette. Another point that comes to mind when analyzing this painting is the way the skeleton is depicted, smoking away its lit cigarette, an action that gives it a lifelike touch, creating a greater contrast between what one would expect from a depiction of the death. Moving to the final part of the analysis, we will go deeper into the story of the painting and the theories surrounding it. As most of you probably know, this painting was created by the Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh during his time attending to the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp, Belgium, between the time of 1865 and 1866. It is thought that this painting was a way for Van Gogh to make fun of the practices at his school. Back then, the Academies of Fine Arts of Europe would include in its academic program the extensive study of human anatomy, in order to correctly represent it on the paintings, which meant painting again and again skeletons and skulls to learn the proportions of the human body. These repetitive exercises made Van Gogh's time attending to the institution boring, and as he later said in his own words, it taught me nothing.
Another possible meaning to this art piece could be related to the condition of Van Gogh health at the time. You see, when Vincent created this piece, he was gravely ill, to the point that he had to be hospitalized. His pain was such that he truly believed his life was nearing its end. Added to the cigarette, the skeleton is smoking might be a reference to Vincent's enjoyment for nicotine. This went as far as him keeping up his smoking habit even when his fragile health condition, as seen in a fragment of a letter he sent to his brother that reads, "The doctors tell me I have to keep my strength up. and until I have built it up, I am to take it easy with my work. But now, I have made things worse by smoking, which I did because one doesn't feel the emptiness of one's stomach then. Other theories even go as far as to proposing that this is Van Gogh's first self-portrait. This is backed up with Van Gogh's borderline obsessive perfectionism when it came to depicting himself, as not only would he get his teeth fixed before doing a self-portrait. Added to this, Vincent was said to be atrocious when it came to painting portraits, with him starting from scratch once and once again every time he tried to depict his likeness in a painting. These insecurities might be the reason there are no portraits from him until later on his career. It is also believed that this painting was inspired by the work of the Belgian artist Felicien Roos, who created a satirical art journal that included art starring skeletons and skulls. Vincent had a copy of the journal in his possession. It is also theorized that Van Gogh was inspired by Esqueleto, who painted another skull in the 17th century, although it is uncertain he knew of Segar's specific job. It is known Van Gogh had a wide knowledge of artists from the 17th to 19th century. As we mentioned before, this painting stood out since it was uncommon for an artist to color, let alone detail, to what was nothing more than a practice exercise. What was going through Vincent's mind will always be a mystery, but maybe this is the moment when Van Gogh was finally satisfied with his abilities and decided to immortalize his last skeleton, bringing it to life in one of his paintings.